wood turned. No job too big or too small. So I thought I'd do just a brief video of my shop. I've had a couple people send me emails and ask me about the shop. I am very fortunate. This is a home shop. It is located in the basement of my home. I am fortunate to have been able to carve out approximately 1,100 square feet of space for the shop. So I have plenty of room for all the tools that I have and for all the tools to be out and attached, plugged into an outlet, connected to the central vacuum system for the dust collection, etc. So we'll kind of look around a little bit at the tools. But one of the things that I would start with and point out is that on any given day, there are a number of different projects going on in the shop. And this is an example of a couple projects that are currently going on. I have two pedestal style tables, bar height. These are the tops and the skirt assemblies for those and the pedestals. I am waiting for the final decision on color from the customer to be able to finish those off. About a day and a half of work left on those. This is a case that I do for baseballs. I've actually done 3 or 4 of these. Haven't put the back on it yet because, again, it's waiting on final approval of the finish and the color. It's probably going to be a black kind of gel stain on this one. A couple coats of gloss finish. I think will make it look really good. But again, projects that are completed and finished, sanded, and ready to accept the stain and the final coat of polyurethane, just waiting on approval from the customer. So there are always there's always some project going on. It's nice having multiple projects going on because it does give me the ability to work on one while I'm waiting for a glue up to dry or perhaps a finish to dry. In the corner over here, I have a drill press. That is a Craftsman drill press. I've always liked my Craftsman tools. Since I'm an older guy, I go back to when Craftsman made really good tools. And I was very happy with them. Drill press has been around for quite a while, but you'll notice that as we move down the shop, we get into some of the yellow tools. So you start to see some stuff with a DeWalt badge on it, etc. They're not color coded, but it just seems to work out this way. My sanding stuff all has the Jet logo on it. There's my 16 by 32 open end drum sander, disc sander, and the spindle sander as well. Of course, the centerpiece of my shop is my saw stop. I purchased that about 5 years ago. It replaced a Craftsman table saw that I had about 20 years, and the saw needed replaced, and I went ahead and spent the extra money for the safety feature of the saw stop. Saw stop makes a great saw. It is, in my opinion, one of the best table saws out there, but for the extra $800 or $900, I was able to get the safety feature. And as I get older, I just start to realize more and more how many, for lack of a better term, stupid things I've done in the past. Okay, so a little bit different camera position here. That's a pressure pot that I use for curing resins, that I use for pens, etc. And for some wood turnings, larger wood turnings also. And I'll probably do a video on how I use the pressure pot to cure resin. There is a 6 1/8 inch joiner planer. It's a Craftsman. It's been around for a long time. I've probably had that since early 2000, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And my air compressor that sits underneath that. As we pan around, you will see there's another room in here, and we'll move the camera in there. That's my semi-clean room, but it's also my workbench and where I store a lot of my tools. I've got a cabinet that I built for all of my battery-powered tools that I have. And, you know, I used to buy nothing but Craftsman, so most of the stuff that's in there is Craftsman C3, but I've started to move to Ryobi over the last couple years. So kind of a mix between the two, but they all work really good, and I use nickel metal hydride batteries for all of those. As we move around, you'll see that right there is yet another project. That is the pepper mill, that blank that I have glued up and getting ready to turn in the next couple days. That's a separate video. In the background is my wood storage. I have quite a bit of woods in there that that is some exotics, Purple Heart, Zebra Wood, Bow Cody, Cherry, Maple, of course, as well, but a number of different species in there. In the corner is my 12-inch Craftsman bandsaw. That is the single oldest piece of equipment I have in the shop. My father purchased that for me back in the, I would say sometime in the late 80s, mid 80s, maybe 84, 85. It still works and have no reason to replace it. My router table is a woodpecker router table with a cabinet that I built for it. Notice I paint all my cabinets gray. They match the equipment. I'm not one of these people that believe I have to have furniture grade cabinets in my wood shop. They are well done, they're well built, they feature dovetail drawers, etc. But I build them out of plywood and I paint them gray. Still working on Craftsman. I've got a Craftsman chop saw that I use, 12-inch, and it works very well. Really happy with it. And probably the thing that my wife likes most about the shop is my Penn State Industries Cyclone vac. It is connected to every piece of equipment in the shop, and I've got switches all around the shop on a 4-way circuit that allow me to turn it on and off from multiple places around the shop. And all I can say about the Penn State unit is it sucks. And I mean, it sucks. I have, being a home shop, being in my basement, dust collection, dust management's a big deal for me. So that's really important. That's what this part of the shop looks like. We've got one more room. We'll go ahead and take the camera into the workbench area, the work area, and show you what that looks like. So finally, I'll start in here. This is a storage closet that I have in this area of the shop. I keep all my finishes in there, screws, nails, electrical cords, etc., etc., parts for cabinets, door slides, door pulls, all that kind of stuff. My proper mechanics toolbox with my Craftsman logo, and of course my Craftsman tools that are in there as well. The workbench on any given day is configured for the piece of work that I happen to do. You'll see 4 plastic boxes there. Those 4 plastic boxes represent all of the kit I need for doing things like pepper mills or pens. And since I'm in the process of doing a pepper mill, as you saw out there, and you see there's a pen blank laying in front of us, still in the mold, a resin pen blank, then I bring out the boxes I need for the particular piece of work I'm doing. If I'm doing furniture and I'm building drawers and the drawer slides and drawer pulls and those kind of things, then you would see boxes on the workbench that represent that work. Now, in the corner, you'll also see a toaster oven and a pot. No, my wife has not banished me to the shop, nor is she making me eat down here. In fact, that is used for stabilization process for wood that I will show in a future video. The process is you use a vacuum chamber to be able to suck resin into the wood, and then it's heat treated resin. So you need to have the toaster oven to be able to cure the resin. Pot on the top is for a technique called sand shading. It's actually full of sand, and I will show you what that looks like probably in a future video as well. But those two things are not used to cook food. Grinder, and then the Tormek Super Grind. I've had that since 2001. Gets a lot of use. I love the edge that it allows me to get on my tools, especially the tools that I use for my lathe. So that's my shop and a little bit about my philosophy on tools and why so many of my tools are gray and still contain that Craftsman logo. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know.